Hi, I'm Raylene, and welcome to Khaleesi Clues. Today's video, I would like to talk about what brought the White Walkers back, and more importantly, what do they want? So, shall we begin? This is a theory video based off of both book and show clues. This video may contain spoilers for those who are not up to date with the show and books. Okay, so yesterday's video, I had talked about who exactly is the Night King. And I have come to the conclusion that I believe he may be a Valyrian dragon lord. So just from like the different clues, and I didn't mention this in yesterday's video, but I think I'll probably try to sneak it in the editing somewhere. One of the things that led me to believe that he might be Valyrian dragon lord is, number one, the fact that, you know, dragons are power, and like they said, you know, they will come and they will lust for the power of the dragon, just like, you know, Quaithe had said to Jorah about Dany. And the other thing is they are very knowledgeable in sorcery, and the Night King seems to have the same gift of sight that Targaryens or Valyrians are known to have. He also uses sorcery to bring the dead back, raise them up as whites, and also in changing living infants into a White Walker, or we're assuming a future White Walker. And that takes some type of knowledge and power of sorcery. And there was actually the video of him turning Craster's baby on the altar. There is a shot of the baby on the altar, and it's panning up towards the Night King. And I was looking at it, and it looks like to me that there is some type of script written on the crystal or the ice. And I believe that's spells. I believe that is spells that he has written on the ice or the crystal. And I believe he's also using the ice and the crystals that you see protruding around the altar. I believe he's using that as his spy network. It's almost like how the weirwoods work, but he's using the power of the crystals. And it was just, you know, an idea that I got. There's something special about him, and it's his blood. He has power, and that's why the Children of the Forest did what they did, because he was going to be their new weapon to fight against the Andals that were coming, and possibly the Valyrians in the future if they ever made it over there. So they needed that huge amount of power. They've seen it in their visions, what success the Valyrians had in conquering and taking over lands, and they needed something to combat that, and that's what they were trying to get. Now, whether the Night King, or I'm sorry, yes, well, he is the Night King. Whether the Night King had a dragon, I have been theorizing that, yeah, I believe he had a dragon too. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly happened immediately after he was turned. What happened to that dragon? One theory I have is that, it's kind of off subject, but that's how this story works. One theory I had is that it might possibly be the dragon that Bran has a vision above Winterfell when he is inside Summer. And I have a little bit of a theory that goes behind that, but I'm still working on that one. But you just never know. This story is just amazing, and I keep finding new and more stuff. I just was reading right before I got on for this video because I wanted to refresh, and I found more clues, so which is great, but it's so much going that it's hard to explain it all because it's so new. So just bear with me and, you know, try to hear the whole theory out. This is the image of what I think looks like script on the ice altar where Craster's baby was placed. The lines are evenly spaced and didn't appear until the Night King approached. So, what do you guys think? Okay, so what I think has made the White Walkers return is, it's going to sound really strange. I think it is the fact that Dany has become a woman. She has had her first moonblood. And the show doesn't really say that, but if you pay attention to what's going on with the first episode about how Jon, or maybe it might have been the second episode when Jon was talking about going to the wall and how he's nearly a man and he's ready, he wants to go to the wall, and Benjen is telling him, no, you're not ready, you don't know what you're going to be missing out on. And also the fact that Viserys is getting Dany introduced to Khal Drogo, and they're getting her all, you know, perfumed up and the beautiful gown she has on, and he comes in and says, oh, you know, you have a woman's body now, you know, you slouch, you know, stand up, and he's checking, inspecting her, making sure that, you know, she looks perfect and everything. They don't talk about the moonblood, but in the books it talks about her having her moonblood. The number 13 has some type of significance for the story, starting from the very first book in the prologue, and also shown in this image from the show. For those who may not know, Dany is 13 years old when the story begins. 13. So Illyrio was talking to Viserys, talking about her blood, and, you know, Viserys is saying, you know, she's too young for the Khal. And Illyrio's statement to Viserys is, she has had her blood. She is old enough for the Khal. Khal is another word for king. I think it's a hint of she is old enough for the Night King. And a little bit later it says in the same paragraph, it's talking about how she is the blood of old Valyria. Look at her eyes, look at her hair, and she's highborn. And daughter of the old king. So I think all of that is hints about the Night King. So what I believe started them on their mission to get past the wall is the fact that he has the gift of sight, just like the Targaryens and the dragon dreams. And if he's using his little crystals or whatever he's doing, he does have a way of seeing into the future. We've seen that on the show. He brought Jon, you know, set him up for a trap, used him as dragon bait to get Dany and her dragons north of the wall so that he could get Viserion. The fact that he can even ride Viserion is another, well, I guess it could be magic too, but you know, he's a dragon lord, so you know, it could go either way, but I look at it as another clue. So it works for me. So but yeah, I believe that, you know, it's the fact that she is a woman now, so she is ready for the Night King. And so what does that say for Dany's future? It's kind of scary when you think about it, because I thought, oh, no way, they're not gonna, you know, they're not gonna do something like that. And the more I'm like looking into it, the more the clues are adding up. And so it's like, I'm thinking, gosh, you know, I think the Night King, what he wants is Dany. And I don't know. There's another part of it that it's like, it makes you wonder, it's the fact that the wall came down at the time that Dany and Jon are having sex on the boat. And I'm assuming that she is pregnant. And I'm not quite sure, because it could really go either way. Is he after her while she's pregnant, so that he may turn that, like, is he after the baby? Or is he, which it very well could be that he's not quite after Dany. If Dany and Jon have a baby girl, he could be after her. And because he could turn this highborn Targaryen child into his Night Queen. Now, I don't, like we said, I don't know how long it takes for them to grow. Is it instantaneously? Is it something that takes time? Because, you know, we don't know all the magic that goes behind his spells. So, you know, it could go either way. It could be either that he's after Dany to be his Night Queen, or he's after Jon and her child. And hopefully she'll have twins. But, you know, that would make her the mother of 3. And she has to have a child on the show and in the books, because that is when the prophecy says the return of Rhaego will happen. So I definitely expect her to have a child, whether, yeah, gosh, is it going to be before the Night King grabs her, or is he going to wait for her to have the child and then go to collect the baby?
Could this be a clue? The discussion between Sansa and Cersei, right after Sansa has had her first moonblood. Cersei asks, "So now you are a woman. Do you have the least idea of what that means?" Sansa answers, "It means that I am now fit to be wedded and bedded, and to bear children for the king." Here's a scary thought taken from one of Dany's dragon dreams. Beneath her coverlets, she tossed and turned, dreaming that Hizdahr was kissing her. But his lips were blue and bruised, and when he thrust himself inside her, his manhood was cold as ice.
So the original Long Night, when the last hero had searched out for the Children of the Forest, and when he finally reached the Children of the Forest, that, you know, that they helped him defeat the Night King, and that together, you know, they were able to beat him back to the lands of Always Winter. I'm not quite buying that. I think what happened is that the Children of the Forest may have maybe communicated with the Night King in some way, and that they came up with a pact, the same as what happened with the First Men and the Children of the Forest. I think they made a pact with the Night King, and that he went back to the lands of Always Winter as part of that pact and waited his time for what he wanted. I think they must have made a deal of some sort, and whether they have either put him off or whether they have used some type of, you know, trickery by, like, you know, trying to keep him at bay. That's, you know, something that could possibly be, because in the world of Ice and Fire, it talks about how there was some trickery over some land with the wildlings, and so the Children of the Forest, you know, they were trying to get a dispute settled between the Children of the Forest and the giants, and it was done by trickery. And so they may have learned from that lesson and implied that with the Night King, trying to trick him to stay away and, you know, behind the wall. So the fact that, you know, Dany, her blood, she is so unique. The fact that she's able to withstand fire, I mean, she is magical, just like the, you know, the Valyrians were in the very beginning. How the sorcery was strong and how the magic was strong. The dragons were there. Dany is a true dragon, I believe, and you know, her children that she is having will also be dragons. It goes back to the Jiri story, when Dany was with Khal Drogo. So I definitely believe that her children are special, and Dany is special, and the Night King wants her or the baby or both.
One of Viserys Targaryen's favorite things to say to Dany was, "Don't wake the dragon," and nobody steals from the dragon. The children of the forest, they woke the dragon. They lost control of him, and now they are going to feel his wrath. Remember who you are, Daenerys. The dragons know. Do you? Wake the dragon.
I think they foreshadowed a little bit of a possible pact being with the Night King this last season, when we seen Dany talking to Jon, and she was explaining to him how in the past the last king in the north had bent the knee to the Targaryens, and that they had sworn allegiance to the Targaryens in perpetuity. And she asked him, do you know what that means? And he said, it's like forever. And he said, but I am not beholden to my ancestors' promises or deals, that he wasn't going to uphold that he was still the king in the north, and that he wasn't going to bend the knee. So I think we might see a little bit of that happening this season too, whether it is the fact that they made a deal that Dany is to go with the Night King, or whether the deal is that their child is to go to the Night King, or both. That would be horrible. We're going to see Jon saying, I'm not going to go for that. I'm not doing that. That was a deal struck a long time ago, and that's not a good deal, and we're not doing that. And I think we will definitely see the defeat of the White Walkers at that point, because Rhaego's coming, and Jon, and I think Jon's going to be the one that takes the Night King down, with the help of Rhaego, and of course with the help of Dany too. With everybody, Bran, everybody that will be fighting against him, Melisandre, the fiery hand, they're all coming, and we're going to see a huge battle, and I hope the good guys win. Okay, one last thing that I'd want to bring up, that I've always wondered if anybody else can see this. I'm going to try and get a picture of it and get it on this video, but there's the episode where it shows Craster's baby being taken to the ice altar, and they're on the horse, and it pans out and it shows like I think it's the Night King's like area that he's in, and you can see the side of the horse, and it looks like to me as if there's 3 images that have been like painted, but it looks like snow on the horse, like because they're the snow and the ice and the rotting flesh and everything. But to me, I see Jon Snow's face, I see the Night King's face, and then there's like this big white distorted looking face, and I've always wondered like what is that, and I just thought, oh, maybe that's just smeared or something. And I've always thought it was kind of crazy, because I was like, oh, I see clues everywhere, so but I really do think I see Jon Snow's face, and then the Night King's face, and then I was like looking at the white distorted face thing, whatever it is, and I started thinking, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, could that be Dany? Because she's got that white hair, but the face is really distorted, so they might have did that on purpose. But I thought that would be because they like to put that stuff in the shows. They like to put like the R + L = J that was on the wall right next to Jon. So I just thought, I bet you they could do something like that easily. And I'll try and get a picture of it and put it on the video, and you guys can comment and tell me, am I crazy or do you see it too? Am I just one of those crazy fans that sees clues everywhere? So anyways, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up and share it, subscribe, and I will be making another video too, because I'm going to be talking about some of the symbols that the White Walkers have left. I think I figured out some of those too. That kind of goes with this story. And there's more stuff about Rhaego too. So I just keep finding more. So anyways, if you like the video, subscribe, like, and watch for my next video or watch my previous videos. Thank you, and have a great day.
Do you see what I see? This is the image I was talking about with the possible 3 images. From the left to the right, the white mystery face. In the middle, I see the Night King. And on the right, I see Jon Snow. Tell me what you think. I wanted to end this with my favorite guy and one last thought. Jon said, "The war is not over, and I promise you, my friend, the true enemy won't wait out the storm. He brings the storm." I find it interesting that the day Dany was born, a huge storm raged. Then, the day she returned to Dragonstone, Varys mentioned that the very same storm was raging outside. Could this be the work of the Night King? Like they say, winter is coming.